Hello, this is Julia Rush, and this is my presentation on managed care laws and regulations as it pertains to the Cobra law. So, what is Cobra? Cobra stands for Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. This was a law that was passed in 1986 by the United States Congress, and it's a piece of legislation that allows individuals and their families who are facing the loss of their health benefits the right to choose to continue health benefits that were provided under their group plan. The coverage can be extended for a limited time only, and it usually is for a maximum of 18 months, but there are some circumstances where it can go up to 36 months. The intent of the law was to allow people to keep their coverage while they look for other employment or while they make arrangements for some other form of separate health insurance. And the employee is responsible for the entire premium cost. So Cobra only applies to certain circumstances, such as voluntary or involuntary job loss, reduction in the number of hours worked that leads to ineligibility of previously covered benefits, previously covered spouses or dependents who face a qualifying life event like a death or divorce, and other qualifying events such as a covered spouse may be transitioning to Medicare. That would also be considered a qualifying event. So the employer has responsibilities in all of this. Cobra coverage only applies to employers with 20 or more employees. The employers are required to offer the employees and their families the opportunity to extend health coverage on a temporary extension basis, where sometimes the coverage would otherwise end. And Cobra requires that Cobra requires employers and plans to provide a notice to the plan, and it also is required to outline how employees and their families can elect to continue coverage. So Cobra has effects on individuals and employers for the most part. The main positive effect for an individual or their family is that they get to keep their coverage that they had. The main challenge of Cobra is that it's very costly. It could put a strain on individuals and families who might already be facing some type of employment crisis or life event, as was previously stated. The cost of Cobra coverage rests completely on the individual. People who qualify for Cobra could be required to pay the entire premium and up to 102% of the cost. And this additional 2% is accounted for an administrative cost that's required to be passed on to the employee. The effect of Cobra on employers is that basically there are steep penalties if the regulations are not followed. They have a month to let the plan know of the qualifying event of the employee, and employers can face great tax penalties up to $100 per day for each violation. Additionally, there could be penalties up to $110 per day based on the Employee Retirement Income Security Act for each violation. And to add on to this, the IRS could levy a minimum noncompliance tax of $2,500 up to $500,000. And additionally, it holds employers responsible for noncompliance with Cobra regulations. So the employers could be personally responsible. The effects of Cobra on payers is that there's little effect because the payer is going to be receiving the same premium whether it's paid for by the employer or the employee. So that concludes my presentation on Cobra and as a law that applies to managed care. Thank you very much.